to our second offering of. We're concentrating here on our tea time programme is Sligo against Kildare, and the second of the qualifiers to be played here today. Looking forward to that game with me. We have Colin O'Rourke, who stayed with us since the afternoon, and Tommy Lyons joins us as well. Tommy, interesting pairing, obviously. We saw Kildare a week ago down in Newbridge. They have to do it all over again today now.
Yeah, very interesting, and you know, Sligo, first time in Croke Park since '75. I think it's a big day for Sligo. You know, it's great. It's a great Sligo crowd around here today, and you know, I think hopefully Sligo will put it up to Kildare, but who knows?
Colin, what we saw early on, the first game was full of drama, full of good football and patches too. What are we expecting to see out of this one?
Well, I suppose if the qualifiers have shown up a lot of good games. You know, we had the earlier match, we had Kildare last Saturday evening, a very, very exciting game in Newbridge, great colour and atmosphere, and I would expect that we'd have the same today. Sligo don't often get to Croke Park, so it's a chance for their supporters to travel in numbers. We won't be able to know who's supporting who because everybody will be in white, I suppose, but Kildare now seem to feel that they have things beginning to go their way, but they're badly hit with injuries today, and it's going to be very difficult for them.
Sligo were unlucky in Connacht. They could have beaten Mayo down in Castlebar.
Yeah, they went in to play Mayo and nobody gave them a chance, and Peter Ford has done a great job with them. I thought Sligo, you know, a bit of immaturity maybe in front of goal. They could have really bet Mayo off the pitch in the first half. Coming up here today, they'll have hope. Paul Taylor's a big loss for them. Paul Taylor's normally 4 or 5 points a game for them, and they'll be disappointed they don't have Paul. But Eamon O'Hara, Desi Sloan, there's some good forwards. If they get a run at Kildare at all, they'll do damage.
Kildare fans, the Ryans, Martin and Glenn are out, but also comes the shocking news that Ken Doyle and Niall Buckley are unable to start because of injury. Midfielder Willie McCreary now returns from suspension and joins Ronan Sweeney at midfield. No change up front, as the Kildare side dominated by big men, especially John Doyle, Dermot Earley and Martin Lynch. This is the Sligo team. James Curran is now first choice goalkeeper since losing to Mayo in the Connacht Championship. The defence is strong and built around the middle line of Mark Cosgrove and Michael Langan. Paul Durkin is now partnered in midfield by the impressive 21-year-old Kieran Gwynn. The attack appears a little bare without captain Paul Taylor, whose injury prevents him from starting. His place goes to Darragh McGarty, who's named at left half forward.
All right, thanks, Marty. We'll be back to Marty in just a moment again. Colin O'Rourke, before Marty's little scene set there, we were talking about the absence of Paul Taylor from Sligo football. Now, he is so central to their game over the last couple of years.
Yes, and he's been the one player, I suppose, who has consistently scored. He's often showed for the ball. Some of the time in the summer, he has been shown up for a bit of a lack of pace. He's been more of a league player, really, than a championship player. But I suppose his absence is balanced out with the fact that, you know, Kildare are decimated, really, again. They can't seem to get a few weeks without 3 or 4 players being missing, and I suppose with Glenn Ryan and Martin Ryan and Niall Buckley particularly, he had a very good game in Newbridge last week, and he was beginning to come back to something like his old form. So both sides badly hampered, but I suppose you'd have to say Kildare suffering the most.
Sligo, as we said, haven't been here in a championship match since the mid-70s, Tommy. Eugene McGee was making the point on the radio the other evening that this is a home venue basically for Kildare. Now that has to be a factor.
Yeah, you'd certainly think Sligo are probably disappointed this game wasn't played in Mullingar or down in Longford or someplace like that, where they would get maybe, you know, 15,000 crowd, big atmosphere for Sligo. But in saying that, you know, John Mann was given out about Fermanagh that when would they ever play in Croke Park, you know, and I think it's great that Sligo are in Croke Park. I think it's part of the novelty of the qualifier, and again it shows the great success of this qualifier series, and you know, I think hopefully Sligo will put it up to them.
Who's going to win?
I better stick with them now, because I spend a lot of time down there, and their supporters are such a fanatical lot. You'd be totally lynched if I change ships at this stage.
Martin lynched even at that. Well, the panel says it's Kildare. I suppose, being from the west, we must keep our fingers crossed that Sligo put up a good, credible performance here this afternoon. We'll have the action right after this commercial break.
Crow from Cavan Gales. Sligo playing in their alternative strip of all black, Kildare in their traditional lily whites. That dramatic news that Ken Doyle pulled a muscle this morning at home. Niall Buckley has hamstring difficulties, and Martin Ryan is still suffering from a dead leg. Means numerous alterations. This is Tyke Finnan. With him is Philip Gallagher. That ball is sent right across the face of the goal mouth. Martin Lynch is underneath it. Calling outside is John Doyle. Chance of an early score, but the opportunity is wasted. Goalkeeper James Curran, first year on the panel. This is his second championship match. Pass from Anthony Rainbow, not very accurate. Sligo people maintain that this is a home venue for Kildare. They play here so often. And this is Sligo's first appearance in Croke Park in 26 years. And the Sligo boys have travelled to headquarters with a large army of supporters. John McPartland. Cormac Davey with him. He uses Desi Sloy. Christy Burns should be, but it's not. And it's gone over the bar. Eamon O'Hara getting the vital touch. It's a major psychological boost to Sligo, and particularly with Eamon O'Hara sneaking inside the Kildare cover here and getting the point. Kick out is aimed at Dermot Early. Free for Kildare. Whatever wind was here for the first game between Galway and Armagh, it certainly has disappeared now. It's a dull, overcast evening in Croke Park. First real opportunity now for Kildare. Going to take it is Pádraig Brennan, who certainly has been producing the goods with 16 points in the last 3 games, and that's an early point for Brennan. Sides level after just almost 3.5 minutes of play. This is David Durkin. He loves to come forward from that half-back position. No doubt about the foul on Jerry McGowan, who was man of the match against Carlow, scoring 4 points from play. Very much in form, the corner forward at the moment. And it's Jerry McGowan that's going to take it, as you can see, from just outside the Kildare 20-metre line. That's what McGowan is facing. It's swinging across over towards this goalpost. And it's wide of the target. Christy Byrne rather, from the Castle Mitchell Club. He's been in goal now for Kildare since 1993. Down towards Martin Lynch. Kildare forwards running inside. Back outside towards Dermot Early. Sligo defending well. Sides to use Ronan Sweeney. Martin Lynch pumping that ball inside. There's a chance here for Kildare. Sligo were exposed, and that's going to be a free for that foul on Eddie McCormack. A simple tap over the bar for Pádraig Brennan.
Martin, Kildare will be quite happy today if Sligo foul all those guys inside, because they're only tap over frees. The thing is to put them under pressure when they're shooting and try and put them off their shot. By fouling them in there, it's just simple, just to tap it over the bar. But Sligo, I think they'll be happy enough with the way they settled. I think when they came up here, they were afraid they'd be overall, but they're playing quite well.
Of course, when these sides met last, they never met in the Championship, but they met in the National Football League in March last year. Sligo won by 3 points. Good chasing and harassing and pressure exerted by Sligo. There's a chance here for Sean Davey, and that's over the bar. Very good play. We remember well the Connacht Championship semi-final when Davey scored a spectacular goal in the early minutes. The kick out is very quickly taken. Sides level after 6.5 minutes of play. There's a Kildare man down on the deck, and he's still down as he will now come into your picture. There he is there as Willie McCreary bypasses him. Flicked away, back to McCreary again. Willie will claim that he was fouled, but Sligo defending admirably. And now some attention for Pádraig Brennan required when the ball goes dead. And the referee just having a word over the far side with his linesman, and I think he's going to go down now and check with his umpire at the Hill 16 end to see what happened off the ball. Brian Crowe has been refereeing for 9 years now at intercounty level and has built up quite a reputation for himself. Peter Ford and TJ Kilgallen, along with Matty Hoey and Shane Tully, part of the Sligo management. Mick O'Dwyer, as always, hands behind the back, as the referee has isolated Niall Carew from Kildare Strand Hill as being the player that was involved in that off-the-ball incident. And the referee, Brian Crowe, is searching, and he has given him a red card. Obviously, the information supplied by the umpire and the linesman was sufficient for the referee to make a decision, which means that Sligo are down to 14 players. And this will alter Sligo's game plan, and certainly Peter Ford is already making changes. But a disaster from a Sligo viewpoint. Yeah,
the last thing they wanted is something like that. At least they wanted 10 minutes where they could settle into the game, try and limit Kildare getting scores and pick off a few themselves. But Niall Carew would have been central to the game plan for Sligo, because he was marking Pádraig Brennan, who's one of the Kildare's main score getters. So a lot of the pre-match team talks and all that would be centred around them. So psychologically it's a big blow for them. Now they'll have to hold on for the next 5 or 6 minutes and batten down the hatches and try not to concede scores.
Sligo down to 14 players after 8.5 minutes, and Pádraig Doohan, who normally plays in the defence, is going to be brought in. This is all part of the new strategic plan. Chance for Martin Lynch, picks it over the bar. Sligo will have to rearrange their forces very, very quickly.
Martin Lynch is central to the game plan that Kildare are playing at the moment. He's quite big, he's well over 6 foot tall, good in the air, and he's making himself available for passes, and he rarely wastes ball in there.
So Pádraig Doohan, I believe, is going to be coming on at left half back. That's his normal position, and Darragh McCarthy, the number 12, is going to be taken off as Sligo go into the attack here. A chance for Jerry McGowan. Referee immediately blows the whistle. Brian Lacey was fouling, and there's going to be a free for Sligo.
Number 17, Pádraig Doohan from number 20.
So here is Pádraig Doohan from Bunanadden, from the Sligo County Champions. They won the championship for the first time in 109 years last season, and he's their only representative. And Darragh McCarthy, who was the player selected in place of Paul Taylor, is the player that's going to make way. So they're obviously going to tighten up their defence as Jerry McGowan gets a point.
Well, they're right. In circumstances like this, you have to have your 6 defenders in place, your 2 midfielders, and you sacrifice either a corner forward or a wing forward in these situations. But what it means now is that every one of the rest of the 14 players will have to work that extra bit harder. And we'll just see how Kildare use the extra man now.
The kick out by Christy Byrne, again aimed at Dermot Early. Comes over towards Willie McCreary. Sligo players in sufficient numbers, referee indicating he was charging, and the free quickly taken again. Good diagonal ball over towards Jerry McGowan. Has to accelerate to try and get there. With him is Dermot Early. Flicking it inside. Good vision in towards Kieran Quinn. Sligo have to hold possession. They can't allow for Kildare to counter-attack quickly. And referee again, Brian Crowe, is pointing to Brian Lacey for fouling. The former Tipperary footballer is adamant he wasn't. Desi Sloan. 1 goal and 6 points to his credit in the last 2 matches. Hits this powerfully and accurately. Again, the Kildare goalkeeper opts for a long ball. Comes straight to Paul Durkin. Great diagonal ball yet again over towards Desi Sloan on the turn. Hits it brilliantly over the bar. Well, we've seen in the past at club and intercounty level, sometimes when teams are reduced to 14 men, they play inspired football, and that is a great point for a Sligo team reduced to 14 players after just 8.5 minutes.
Yes, without doubt. And Kildare really, in their last few games, are having trouble with their 2 cornerbacks. They seem to be exposed. And we saw in the last few games that given good ball into them, that they can be beaten.
Good play again. Eamon O'Hara coming through on the overlap. Referee is having none of this fouling and asserting his control right from the beginning.
One thing Kildare will have to be careful of, referees have a habit of evening things out, and when one guy is sent off in the next 10 or 15 minutes, they try and even it out if there's any incident whatsoever that will lend itself to sending somebody off. So they'll just have to be a small bit worried.
Desi Sloan going for his 3rd point. Playing very consistently. Another point for Desi. And Sligo lead by 6 points to 3. Much more intelligent play by the Kildare goalkeeper, using a short ball. John Doyle was doing his best to get away from the Sligo defence, but it's not easy. David Durkin uses Mark Cosgrove. Paul Durkin is back there. So too is Porrick Doohan. It's back to Paul Durkin again. Playing it tight. Ball runs kindly for Kenny Dwan. Kildare now try to regroup and engineer more scores. Sligo defensively playing with a very positive attitude. Obviously very focused. They're using the long ball to great effect. No doubt about the foul on Desi Sloan. And that's going to be another free for Sligo. And again the referee is having a word with one of the Kildare players. This time it's Kenny Dwan.
Yes, so that was a terrific passage of football by Sligo. great defensive swarming in around the back line and working the ball out well, and when they get about the 40-yard line, pick a long pass, and it was well worked free.
This is Sligo's 7th free of the half. As Peter Ford was very quick to respond to what was a crisis after just 8 minutes, with Niall Carew being sent off. And so far, the alternative plan has worked. Not very well struck. Ian O'Hara tries to knock it back past Paul Durkin. John McPartland. Plenty of Kildare defenders there. One of them is Cormac Davey. Ronan Quinn using Anthony Rainbow. Ronan Sweeney is available at centre field. Up towards Martin Lynch. Flicking it forward towards Willie McCreary. Chance here for Eddie McCormack, and the goalkeeper did very well. Young James Curran came to his county's rescue with a fine save. And for once, Sligo were exposed. A wonderful move by Kildare. Willie McCreary was involved, so too was McCormack, and the finish here looked as if it was heading for the net, only for James Curran. First 45 of the game. John Doyle standing over it. Only in his second championship season with his county. Doyle hits it well, but inaccurately. And Sligo will be pleased at the fact that they were exposed and still survived.
Yeah, good save by James Curran, but it was very good football by Kildare. Martin Lynch at full forward is showing well, and Willie McCreary showing what he's good at. He's good at driving forward, driving the team forward, laying a good ball off. A very good save in the end of the day.
Ronan Sweeney. Anthony Rainbow switches the play by using Corey Brennan at the far side. Patrick Nupton. Lovely skill by Brennan. On the run. Flicks it across, but again, the result is the same. Wrong side of the goalposts. John Finn, who was drafted in there for Kildare at right half back when Ken Doyle and Martin Ryan pulled out before the game. Well caught by John Doyle. Craig Finnan, vibrant in the corner, getting inside Mark Cosgrove, and the referee maintains that Tig was over-carrying, and Sligo will once again be relieved. Just an uneasiness creeping into Sligo's game at the moment. They're under a little bit of pressure, and they will have to try and devise a plan so that they spread out that ball again to the far side.
Yeah, well, one thing we've learned from last week is that Kildare are never beaten, and the way they came back against Donegal was outstanding. So Sligo will know that they're going to be there till the very end.
Great catch by Martin Lynch. Mark Cosgrove trying to prevent the crossfield ball, and Eddie McCormack unable to control it. Almost 20 minutes now played. And Mick O'Dwyer, I would imagine, a little bit concerned about the lack of incision and the lack of drive coming from his side. They're beginning to dominate around centre field at the moment. Pump the ball in again towards Corey Brennan. McCreary maintains that there was overcarrying, so it's going to be a free to Sligo, very quickly taken. Corey Doohan is over there. That's good play by Sligo. Michael Langan on the run. Possibly took the wrong option. He had choices. Players were available.
Definitely took the wrong choice. He had two corner forwards just after showing off his man, and all he needed to do was to slip the pass. But I suppose it's tempting at times when you have 40 yards from goal and up in Cork Park and you haven't been around it for a while to go for glory. But he should have just laid it off, taken the score, or else have drawn a foul.
It's only Sligo's second wide of this first half. Eamon O'Hara. The overlap provided by John McPartland, bursting down on the goal, and he sends it over the bar. John McPartland, a wonderful prospect, now fulfilling his potential since he moved from corner into the full. Eamon O'Hara created the opportunity, but McPartland did well to get by the challenge of McCreary. And drove it well over the bar. 14-man Sligo now lead by 7 points to 3.
It is a tendency when you have one extra man that you feel that everybody else will do your job for you. At the moment in time, Kildare are just watching Sligo and hoping that someone else will walk for them.
And Sligo have it again. Eamon O'Hara. Ball pumped in long. Great catch by Cormac Davey. Ronan Quinn operating at centre half back here today. Sending it in quickly towards Tyke Finnan. Gets by the challenge of Philip Gallagher. Finnan causing problems and sending it wide. Kildare have had their opportunities. Their tally of wides increasing to 5 now. Kildare have finally decided to use Cormac Davey as the extra man, and he's operating around half back. He's the full back for Kildare. He's operating in a centre back position at the moment. And Sligo will be quite happy if he stays down there. Eamon O'Hara. There's a bit of a high boot. The referee didn't really spot it. He was on the blind side, but it looked quite high. So the initiative swings to Kildare. Sean Davey, Eamon O'Hara. It's 2 against 2, but it's a backs ball all the way. And at least it should be. And Kenny Dwan wins the tussle. The breaking ball should have been Sligo's, but Dermot Early did very well. He didn't like Paul Durkin holding on to it. Dermot Early, no option again available. He's looking for a loose man, but nobody making a run. Here's Martin Lynch now. Has the beating of Mark Cosgrove. Cosgrove did well. Plenty of Sligo defenders. Oh! A gift of a point, really, but it could have been much worse from a Sligo perspective. Pádraig Brennan will get the credit, but very slack marking by Sligo. But Martin Lynch has the beating of Mark Cosgrove. Good intelligent ball into him. Again, just steps aside from the challenge. He just seemed to run out of steam here. And there's the loose ball, and well pulled on by Tyke Finnan, in fact.
He should have got a goal marking. You don't get opportunities like that too often in the game, and he should have sunk it low and hard. He should have had a cut off it. But Mark Cosgrove did quite well on Martin Lynch there. But Martin Lynch is available inside her if they'd only find him a little earlier.
Kieran Quinn impressed so much that day in Castlebar against Mayo when introduced. Jerry McGowan running out of space rather quickly. And the challenge by William McCreary was a little bit over the top. And the referee, Brian Crowe, is going to have a word with the midfielder as McGowan is still stretched on the ground beside the press photographer. And William McCreary's name goes into the book as McGowan still requires some medical attention. The referee, I think, is looking for the yellow card. Now he has it. And that's a yellow for William McCreary. And of course, this is his first game. His suspension was up last Saturday night at midnight. He was sent off against Carlow. And Jerry McGowan will get some attention from James Gillespie or Reggie McNulty, the physio.
Yeah, I think that was the right decision. I don't think it was a sending off offense. He just put his arms out, and he's such a big, strong man, and he just took him with him over the sideline, and the booking was fair enough. But they shouldn't be fouling in there. He was way out in the corner. He really was no danger to anyone. And with the left leg here, they could just swing it over the bar.
Jesse Sloy, difficult enough angle, but he took it well. Christy Byrne can wave all day, but the umpires had no doubt. And the umpires are perfectly correct on this occasion. Back to double scores. Kildare have taken only 4 out of 10 chances. Sligo, in contrast, have taken 8 out of 10 chances. And Sligo, I remind you again, playing with 14 players. Good work by Porrick Doohan. That ball this time is a little bit too long.
No, that's where they have to show a little bit more intelligence from that place, because there is only 2 forwards inside, so they have to pick the percentage ball on the outside of the forward and not just boot it up there.
Well won by Philip Gallagher. Eamon O'Hara. And Gallagher gets the return ball. Little double act going between Gallagher and Eamon O'Hara. Needs to use a diagonal ball, but it wasn't a good one. And Dermot Earley easily intercepts. Pass from John Finn wasn't a good one, but he made up for it by winning it back himself. Here's John Doyle. Trying to make an angle. Comes out towards Porrick Brennan. Steadies himself before kicking a great point. That's his 3rd of the match. And there's confirmation of the scoreline. Sligo 8 points, Kildare 5, with almost 28 minutes gone. James Curran again will go down the middle. Eamon O'Hara almost had it. Nicely picked up by Michael Langan. Feeding outside to Sean Davey. Kildare go into reverse and get as many players behind the ball as possible. But there was some fouling by Anthony Rainbow. And there's another free for Sligo, and it's a foul that was really unnecessary.
Yes, I think Mick at half-time will have a word to them about discipline, because they're all frees that should not be conceded. There was 4 Kildare men behind the ball and only 2 Sligo men. And all you have to do is put a guy under pressure when he's shooting and not give him an easy scoreable free like this. Because if you put him under pressure, more than likely he'll kick it wide.
A yellow card there for Anthony Rainbow. And he had been noted earlier, so the referee, top of his job as Sligo get another point. Jesse Sloan again, his 5th of the game. They may be numerically disadvantaged, but certainly you wouldn't expect that on the trend of the game. They're doing very well. Ronan Sweeney. Bit of a rush shot, but it finds the target. Eddie McCormack from play. Gets his first point of the match. Plus 3 points again between the teams. This is good play here by Kildare. It looked to seem to me initially that it was the wrong option, but Eddie McCormack hit it powerfully and accurately. Great score. Dermot Earley. Running through the centre is Ronan Sweeney. Flicks it into no man's land, and James Curran will accept it and give it down towards Porrick Doohan. John McPartland, back to Doohan. Good play by Sligo. And hard work by McPartland, and Doohan is unquestionably pulled down as Peter Ford responds to the action on the pitch. When Sligo run at Kildare, it's noticeable that Kildare are inclined to foul.
Yeah, they are, and Sligo, in fairness to them, their attitude is excellent. They're working very, very hard for each other, and when they pick the intelligent ball inside there. Yes, and William McCurry will have to be careful as well, because he has been booked, so he just doesn't want to get involved in anymore.
13th free of the match to Sligo. Comes down towards Jerry McGowan. Sean Davey gathers, but lets the ball go rather easily. And Kildare counter-attack. This is where Sligo will have to be very careful. Martin Lynch again way in front of Mark Cosgrove. Corey Brennan making a diagonal run, but Sligo have got behind the ball, as you can see. Eddie McCormick is forced to use it out towards the wing. There's a chance here of a point, and that's very well taken. John Finn coming up from a right half-back position. A very good score by Kildare.
Kildare's last 2 or 3 attacks have been very focused, with Martin Lynch inside full forward, winning the ball, laying them off, and he got some good scores in there.
Good intelligent play by the Sligo goalkeeper, James Curran. Instead of using a long ball, using it out towards the wing, towards Porrick Doohan. The break favours Sligo and Kieran Quinn, but he fails to win possession ahead of Eddie McCormick. Outside towards Kenny Dwan. He's operating at corner back, but loves to go forward. There's a chance here for Kildare, and Sligo are in trouble. Comes back outside, and Curran makes the save. Mike Fennan, I think, opted to lob the keeper, and Curran responded. Just watch this again, as Martin Lynch again had the beating of Mark Cosgrove. Lynch fed it outside, and he was going for the corner rather than a lob. Second 45 of the match for Kildare. Two minutes to the half-time whistle, 2 points between the teams. Martin Lynch driving this in, and it's gone to the wrong side of the goalpost yet again. Kildare will be disappointed that with numerical advantage they're not maximising it.
Yeah, but that is always a problem with Kildare. They need a lot of possession to get those scores. But I feel since the Donegal game with Martin Lynch in full forward, that he provides a fulcrum for him in there, a target man, and with them letting him in, they will get the scores eventually. But fair play to Sligo. Their attitude since they had the man sent off has been excellent. They're working very, very hard for each other. And at this stage, I think they'll be very happy going into half-time.
Well, the half-time whistle will be about 2.5 minutes away. 2 minutes extra time. As Sligo go into the attack again. It's 3 against 2 here. Great catch by Anthony Rainbow. Squeezes it outside far as Kenny Dwan. John Doyle is available. Martin Lynch again in front of his direct opponent. And that's going to be a line ball this time for Sligo. Martin Lynch vehemently disagrees with that decision. And Michael McGrath, the linesman from Donegal, at the far side. Long ball strategy doesn't seem to work from a Sligo perspective, as Kildare have sufficient numbers back there. That's where they're playing their extra man. Oh, that's a lovely rob. Fair and square. Paul Durkin. Eamon O'Hara wants it, but Durkin is fouled, and it's going to be a free. And with nobody immediately available, Sligo will be far better to control matters and cool it down a little bit, and that's exactly what they haven't done. And the initiative again swings to Kildare. Mike Fennan. Martin Lynch again making these dashing runs to meet the ball. Willie McCreary wasn't expecting the pass, and Philip Gallagher is back there. Remember, Philip Gallagher made his debut in that Connacht semi-final against Mayo. Ronan Sweeney, one of several Moorfield players on this Kildare panel. Anthony Rainbow gets into a good position and takes a very good score. Just 1 point between the teams. Great play here by Kildare, and Anthony Rainbow, a steadying influence over the last number of seasons, shows his experience and maturity by taking his chance when it came. Breaking ball is knocked down to Ronan Sweeney. This time Martin Lynch is beaten to it. Patrick Nocta. That game plan is not working for Sligo. They will have to work that ball up because Kildare have put all those extra players, at least one extra player, inside in the half-back line. Referee Brian Crowe from Cavan blows the half-time whistle, a half of which they were level 3 times. But Sligo, with numerical disadvantage, having Niall Carew being sent off after 8.5 minutes, have battled with tremendous passion and self-belief. Much indeed to talk about, but at half-time, Sligo lead in Croke Park by just 1 point. Sligo 9 points, Kildare 8 points. Let's get some half-time reaction now. Let's join our sideline reporter, Darragh Maloney.
Paul Taylor, how do you think it's going?
I think the lads are playing very well. I think they let Kildare back into it there in the last 10 minutes of the first half, but overall I think it wasn't a bad half for Sligo. We're playing against the breeze, whatever breeze that's in it, so hopefully they'll be able to come out and put in a good performance in the second half.
The red card was a blow, but you haven't let it affect you.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't talking to Neil. I didn't see the incident myself, but I think that the boys responded brilliantly to it, and they went down the field and got a couple of great scores. And I think that we're dangerous when we start going forward with the ball. So hopefully they can keep that up and carry on for the second half.
Briefly, still confident?
Very. Thank you, Darragh.
Time as match referee Brian Crowe starts the second period of 35 minutes to decide who goes into that draw for the next round of the All-Ireland Series. Kildare will be very determined to level this match very quickly, and that's exactly what they've done after just 19 seconds, 21 seconds of play. The sides are level. For the 4th time that has happened in this game. Kildare and Sligo have scored the same amount, 9 points each. Billy McCreary. Pádraig Doohan with him. Still McCreary. Looking for Pádraig Brennan. Patrick Nocta feeding the ball out towards Paul Durcan. Kieran Quinn. Anthony Rainbow. John Finn in his familiar role of right half back. He's fouled. Free very quickly taken. And the rebound falls into the path and the waiting arms of Dermot Earley. Great running by Earley, and Kildare are in front. First of the match for Dermot Earley. Didn't score against Donegal. Managed 2 points against Carlow, and he gets 1 now against Sligo. But it puts Kildare in front. Well worked score and well taken. Ball sent straight out towards Kieran Quinn. Good defending again by Kildare. Dermot Earley. Brian Lacey. Giving it in long into space. Mark Cosgrove. Manages to get a touch and knocks it down to Patrick Naughton. Kieran Quinn to Mark Cosgrove. Under pressure. Uses the long ball, but it's not very advantageous. And Kildare have possession again. Dermot Early over towards Eddie McCormack. Martin Lynch floating a ball right into the path of John Doyle and knocked out for a 45 by Michael Langan. But Kildare looked a little bit more creative at the start of this second half.
Yes, I think there's a little more urgency about it. That was a super pass by Martin Lynch right across the face of the goal, and Michael Langland did everything in his power just to get a hand to it to break it away. But Martin Lynch has been playing quite well for Kildare against Donegal and again today. And you mentioned Dermot Early there just a few minutes ago. He was one of the most influential figures down against Donegal, and again today he's playing quite well.
Looks like Philip Gallagher has picked up an injury there, as Reggie McNulty and Ken Monaghan give him some attention. Patrick Doohan has done very well since introduced into a defence that has been able to maintain Kildare forwards at bay. But if Philip Gallagher had to depart, well, then it would be a major blow to Sligo's prospects. Peter Ford is obviously concerned about his corner back because he's made the dash from the dugout down to the goalposts, and it may mean another substitute for Sligo as Philip Gallagher seems to be leaving the scene.
That's very unfortunate for Philip and for Sligo, because with Niall Crew gone off already, they can't have that many cornerbacks in their team, and the cornerback is a kind of a specialist position, and especially when you're up against Pádraig Brennan and Tyke Fennan in there, you really have to be on your guard.
Looks like Nigel Clancy over the far side is being introduced. Nigel has suffered in recent times with a groin problem, and now of course plays his club football with Na Fianna in Dublin. And he would be seen in Sligo up to recent months as first choice centre half back. But Michael Langan has done so well that he's kept Nigel Clancy off the team. 45 by Martin Lynch, quickly taken, and Eddie McCormack sends the ball wide. There's a depth of talent in Sligo which outside the county mightn't be acknowledged, but when you have players like Nigel Clancy in the panel and he's introduced, well then you know that they certainly have a panel of 20 or more players capable of playing at this level. William McCreary chasing after this with Patrick Doohan. Sean Davey passes the ball to the referee. It did come to Patrick Naughton as Philip Gallagher from Drumcliff Ross's Point is heading to the dugout. It's unfortunate that he picked up this injury. Kieran Quinn lays it off. Sligo counter-attack. Great running by Eamon O'Hara. His support outside. Chance of a point. Brilliantly taken. Excellent play by Sligo. Sean Davies' second point of the match. What a run by Eamon O'Hara. It was electric. Just watch this again. O'Hara literally took off. Kildare players left behind. Fed Davy, took his point. Level again at 10 points each. Free to Kildare. Again, Martin Lynch makes these early runs. Nigel Clancy beaten by Lynch. Has a shot at goal, and that is over the bar. That's a fine point by Martin Lynch, because he was certainly being challenged and seemed to fall as he got the boot to the ball. Did very well.
There were two very good scores, one by Eamon O'Hara setting up Sean Davey and Martin Lynch at the end of the day. Sligo are doing very well running at the Kildare defence, especially Eamon O'Hara. When he carries the ball like that, it's impossible to stop him.
And Sligo have it once more. Michael Langan giving it to David Durkin, spreading the ball over to the far side. Jerry McGowan getting there ahead of Brian Lacey. Eamon O'Hara lends assistance, and Sean Davey with Michael Langan to his left. Outside him is Patrick Doohan. Michael Langan is the third option. Kildare back there in sufficient numbers, forcing Sligo to play the diagonal rather than the incisive ball. Christy Byrne underneath it. Down towards Ronan Quinn. Eddie McCormick. Look how deep he has to play to win possession. Won back by Patrick Naughton. Sligo now go forward again, playing with confidence. You wouldn't think they've been absent from Croke Park for 26 years, would you? This ball into space. Kenny Dwan playing a corner back, kept in brilliantly and pulled down. Desi Sloyne, the linesman Michael McGrath, just waving the flag there towards the referee, and that's going to be a free.
That was brilliant play by Sligo. I know they have been absent from Croke Park, but that's Croke Park's loss, because the way they're playing football today, I think the wide open spaces and the occasion, it's nice to see them getting a chance, and it's nice to see them doing themselves justice as well.
That's a yellow card for Kenny Dwan for that challenge.
Go on, Dermot!
Jerry McGowan in towards Paul Durkin. Good defending by Dermot Early. Durkin arrives with a shoulder charge. William McCreary under pressure finds the sideline. In case you've just joined us, Sligo are playing with 14 players. Confirmation that right half back Kenny Dwan, who's actually playing cornerback with all the alterations in the Kildare team beforehand. And you just saw there a moment, Jerry McGowan seems to be under pressure with an ankle problem. Break falls towards Brian Lacey. Dermot Early wasn't expecting the pass, but Paul Durkin's challenge on Lacey was late, and Paul is pleading his innocence, but the referee is having absolutely none of it. Paul Durkin cannot believe it, and he's pleading with the referee, and now Eamon O'Hara is just telling him to calm down. The referee is taking his name, and I'm sure it's going to be a yellow card for the big midfielder.
I think the referee was quite right, Marty, to book him, and there was no need for it really, because the ball had been passed over the sideline. Here we can see him coming out with the ball, laying the ball off, and he just took him out of it. There was no need for it whatsoever, because the ball was, they would have a sideline kick anyway, they would have retained possession.
Brian Lacey still down on the ground. And Brian is certainly performing a lot better. He's a fine footballer. Had a torrid evening in Newbridge with Brendan Devaney. He scored a goal in 5 points, which is most unusual for Brian to concede. Some of those, by the way, were from frees, 3 points from frees. As that ball is sent in towards Dermot Early. Under pressure from Paul Durkin. Nicely picked up by Pádraig Brennan. It's a high challenge again by Durkin. And remember, he's just been given a yellow card. John Doyle in towards Martin Lynch. And Lynch, terrible waste of possession. But it has to be said that Martin Lynch is a potential match winner, not based on that, but on terms of his running out to the ball and laying it off.
Yes, he's showing for the ball well. He's making up the minds of the people outside when to let the ball off by showing in front of his man, and it's very hard to mark somebody like him.
Kildare now have 8 wides in this game, Sligo just 2. John Finn fouled. For some dissent, there's an extra 10 metres given to Kildare. Pádraig Brennan. Mike Finnan was making a dash out to him for a quick ball. Goes for the point and drops it in over the Sligo crossbar. 5th point of the match for the corner forward from Sarsfields in Newbridge. Sean Davey. Paul Durkin is available in the middle. Go for the long ball, but there are plenty of Kildare defenders there. Ryan Lacey is just 1 of 3. Dermot Early. John Doyle. Sligo have to go back, and the linesman at this side is waving his flag, Michael McGrath, and there's a Sligo man down on the ground off the ball. And the crowd are responding, but we continue on with the action. Great defending by Sligo, but the referee has blown his whistle and given a free against Eamon O'Hara, which I do not think is the correct decision. And the linesman at this side, Michael McGrath from Donegal, is still waving his flag. He has his flag up and the referee hasn't spotted it. Now he has. And the Sligo man is still down, as you can see now. And the player down is John McPartland, and the linesman is informing Brian Crowe, the match official and the man in charge, what happened. And the referee has been told of the details of what happened. And now this is a question for the referee. Does he balance this game numerically? Remember, after 8.5 minutes, Sligo's Niall Carew was sent off. Kildare could be reduced to 14 men here. Referee Brian Crowe is going just for a yellow card. Ronan Quinn. This is the reason why, as John McPartland and Ronan Quinn collided, and I think possibly, judging by that angle, that the referee was correct. Pádraig Brennan hits this just barely over the crossbar, but they all count. Half a dozen points for the corner forward, and Kildare now lead by 3 points.
Sligo will have to get back into it now around midfield, win a few more breaks and lay it off intelligently into the forward line, because with 3 points up now and the way Kildare are playing at the moment, they could just pull away from Sligo.
The idea from this kick out was to find Paul Durkin, but it was a poor kick. Paul Durkin had to work very hard. Gets it to David Durkin. John McPartland punting it forward over towards Jerry McGowan. Not too many options for McGowan, and leaves it in long. Anthony Rainbow. Sligo cannot afford to lose concentration. This is a critical period now in this game. Well won by Nigel Clancy. Gets there ahead of Martin Lynch. Kieran Quinn gives it back to Clancy. And it's Clancy once more, survives the challenge. Gives it to Jerry McGowan. Takes the return pass and kicks that magnificently over the bar. What a wonderful piece of football action. Hard work and the creativity of Nigel Clancy, incorporating Jerry McGowan in the build-up, and finished by McGowan at the very end, ensures that Sligo are within 2 points of the Lily Whites. Coming back in is Darragh McGarty, and it looks like Paul Durkin is the